Welcome to the Everyday Eurasia podcast, inspiring faith for every day. A place where we discover together what it means to follow Jesus in our everyday lives. This week we're hearing stories and testimonies from Nazarene Cafés across the region. They remind us that the church isn't only about what happens on a Sunday morning. Cafe ministry can be a place that brings people together when walking through the doors of a church feels like too big a step. A place where people can encounter Jesus right in the middle of everyday life. We hope you are inspired as we hear from baristas, pastors and volunteers as they bring a ministry of presence, care, a listening ear, great coffee and the love of Jesus Christ to the people around them. Today we're listening to Clint Grimes. Clint is married to his lovely wife Lauren and they have two sons, Miles and the other one due in November. Clint currently serves as an associate pastor at Generations Church of the Nazarene in Texas. In addition to serving at his church, he has a fitness business in which he seeks to shine the light of Christ in the marketplace. Let's hear about his testimony with his time at Fresh Ground London.
I have a couple memories that really kind of shaped the way I see mission and faith in regards to just building relationships and the hospitality that was apparent at Fresh Ground. One had to do with the Kingdom Choir, which obviously after the royal wedding, everyone knows about the Kingdom Choir, but they would use the space and they would do their practices and we were able to build beautiful relationships with them. But one of the cooler things was that the leaders of the Kingdom Choir actually held a community choir. And so those professionals would come in and they, because of the relationships that were built, would invest back into the community to allow kind of your everyday people to come in and they would coach them and train them and bring them together and have a beautiful, have these beautiful practices, and it all crescendoed in the end with this amazing performance where these professional singers, these well-known, beginning to become kind of renowned people, were leading this community choir, and hundreds of people came out. And I think just one of the cool things was you never know what the Lord's going to do in building some of those relationships. And the beautiful thing is they were believers. And so it was kind of a very easy thing, but we were actually able to partner with them in loving and serving people, giving people outlet to use their gifts. And even I think what was cool is we had people come to know the Lord because they showed up to sing in a community choir. And as they are singing gospel, they are singing worship music, and their hearts are being changed, and they're being wooed to the beauty of Jesus through it. And so it was just amazing to see how God orchestrates those relationships, and it became very mutual and really a beautiful thing that we were able to put on. A second thing that's just honestly one of my favorite stories is there was a family that the entire cafe staff and church staff got really close with. And he was British Special Forces. And again, we just began to build deep relationships. We would have dinner, we would just different things, and got really to know their family. And we were always doing, community events, church events that we would invite the patrons to. And, I got to speak with him a little bit about church and, where he was in that and his faith walk. And it was interesting. We had a very vulnerable moment where he shared about the things that he has done and seen and been called upon to do because of his line of work. And he was just very vulnerable. And he was like, man, there's really no coming back from what I've done. There is no place for me in church was kind of his heart and the way that he felt. And I felt like the Holy Spirit in that moment just kind of gave me the idea of Paul, and I was able to share with him. I was like, man, there's this man who was literally the enemy of the church, dragging people out and ordering their murders. And And it is that very person that God called and chose and turned his life around to become one of the greatest ambassadors of the gospel, and writing 2/3 of the New Testament, and just was able to share with this man. And again, just the relationships that were built, and moments in a coffee shop over a flat white, where you get to hear kind of the depths of people's heart and allow the Lord to speak into those things to hopefully plant hope. And so just a couple cool moments from relationships that are built, hospitality that over time, by showing up day in and day out, befriending people, really caring for people, how the Lord would open opportunities for ministry. I think the mark that it has left on me coming home, and the way that I really desire to do ministry, has to do with the fact of one, the way Fresh Ground utilized its space and relationships and contacts and all of that to really provide a service and offer a value of something that was useful to the community. It wasn't just taking up real estate and hoping people show up and kind of offering a homily. But really, it was, what do the families, what do the people, the businesses, what do the people in our direct community that walk by us, that see us, that live life in this area, what do they really need? What would serve them well on a very practical level? And Fresh Ground did that in many ways, which was really cool. It was a very multifaceted approach that all was anchored in this, community aspect. And so I thought that was very beautiful. It very much reminded me of Jesus, that when Jesus would show up on the scene, he was always meeting practical needs. He was feeding people, he was healing people, he was, speaking to their heart. And so I think that is, in a lot of ways, that is very much the entry into earning a voice into people's life, is really being useful, serving them, loving them in a practical way. And then secondly, it is doing that in a way, and over time, investing in those relationships, building legitimate friendships, caring for people in a way that, man, when the highs are there, you get to ride the highs with them. You get to celebrate promotions and weddings and births. And when the lows come, you are there, and you're a shoulder to cry on, and you're also someone that can speak hope, and someone that can point people to the reason that you have for your hope and for faith in Jesus. And so I think for me, that is kind of the anchor of how I really want to do ministry. Is I want to show up for people and have more than just a Bible verse, but really be someone that people can count on, that can trust, that know that I'm there for them, and that really I'm in their corner, and allow that to preach. And then obviously, as the Holy Spirit opens up opportunities, and allow God to move in and do what only He can do, and call people to Him. And so I think those are beautiful things, and there really is no better place that I'd recommend to go get that kind of experience, to work on a really cool ministry team where everyone gets input, everyone gets to play a part. There's so many roles, from youth group to preaching to the creative to outreach to even the cafe and different things, that you get to deploy a lot of gifts. You get to be stretched in a lot of different ways. You don't have to be pigeonholed into kind of one aspect of ministry, but really, man, you get to allow God to move you and form you and stretch you in beautiful ways, and learn how to take that and make that practical in the community. So would strongly encourage anybody to go join Jason's team. And man, they've experienced a lot. Again, successes, setbacks, but in all of that, learning and continuing to show up and be a city on a hill, be light in that city. And so I would strongly encourage people to check it out.
Thank you for listening to the Everyday Eurasia podcast, inspiring faith for every day. For more everyday stories, subscribe on this podcast channel, follow our socials, Facebook and Instagram, or our newsletter snapshots. For our newsletter and further information about the Eurasia region, visit our website eurasiaregion.org.